Welcome everyone to another episode of Q&A with Sharon's son George. I was my mother's caregiver after she was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. Sadly, she passed on 1/1/2020, but we started together for Sharon.com in her memory and to advocate for a cure for all those still battling Parkinson today and their families, because no one is ever alone in this fight for a cure. Today's guest, I wanted to welcome just an incredible, inspiring person who on my tougher days I look up to, even though hopefully he knows that, but if he doesn't now, he does. And just really an honor to have you here and welcome to the show, Phil.
Thank you. Thanks for having.
I was wondering if you could start us off with telling everybody of the audience a little bit about yourself. I was joking with you how you have the radio voice and I don't, so it's going to be fun, and I'll be learning a lot from you as we talk.
All right, and I was on the radio for a while, although most people never heard me. If you were in Eugene, Oregon in the early '80s, you probably heard me doing news back then.
Mhm.
But I noticed when I was at the radio station that the salespeople were driving nicer cars than I had. And so I looked around and I said, what do the salespeople do?" And ultimately, I launched a career in radio and television and digital advertising sales. And I did that until I retired in 2024, actually.
Oh. Or maybe what about movies? I love the voice of movies. You
No
saw
one, no one has ever hired me for a movie role, but I'm available. I got time.
Well,
So
if
I
anyone's
definitely.
listening out there, please reach out. I'll send the message, or Phil will get back to you. But I saw a documentary once about the gentleman who did all the movie sounds. Today, we don't have a lot of movie theaters anymore, but it's beautiful to see, what a career, and he did pretty well. So hopefully that'll be also for you. But really, we're here today for one main reason, that's to advocate together. I always tell everyone listening, together our voices are so much stronger. We could all be off doing this on our own, but why? We're all here for the same reason and same really goal, and that's to end Parkinson. But until we do, I feel we need more awareness. So maybe you could tell us a little bit about your awareness, your diagnosis, and all the inspiring things that I believe you have come to do today, and the past, and for the future.
All right. And the story starts the way it starts with a lot of people with Parkinson's. And I've met enough people to know that, the symptoms show up one at a time and you don't connect the dots for a while. In 2018, I lost my sense of smell and I assumed it was a side effect to a nasal spray I'd been using. Didn't think a lot of it. 2020, I started having trouble typing with my right hand, and just the fingers wouldn't do what I wanted them to do. And ultimately, I switched to voice dictation and learned to use a mouse with my left hand. And things happen one at a time. And it never really occurred to me that it might be Parkinson's, and it didn't occur to my doctor either. Originally I was, I showed up with a tremor, but when I got there, it is, the case where your car is making a noise, and as soon as you pull into the mechanic's garage, the noise stops. I couldn't duplicate the tremor. He told me I was fine. Eventually, the tremor came back, and he decided it was essential tremor, and that's where it stayed until November of 2022. And it's a little ironic that I worked in advertising sales for as long as I did, and it was a piece of advertising that gave me the key to the diagnosis. In November every year, you get direct mail from every charity on the planet,
Mhm.
every cancer charity, every children's charity, the food bank, the gospel mission, everybody else. And I didn't open most of those envelopes, but one day I got an envelope from the Parkinson's Foundation. And on the envelope, it said, "The 10 warning signs of early stage Parkinson's." And that caught my attention. And I went, "I wonder what those are." And I opened the envelope and I read the letter and I got to the list. And out of 10 warning signs, I had six of them. And that was the first time I had seriously considered Parkinson's as a possibility. I went back to my doctor. She sent me to a neurologist, and of course, it took several months to get in. But ultimately, I got that diagnosis, and it was a piece of advertising that gave me the key to the diagnosis, and I've been grateful for that. So, without that direct mail envelope, I still might not know what I've got.
Amazing. I mean, I get them too. I'm actually read each page and every cover, but that's just because we're advocates, and I love, finding out the new
Hmm.
technologies and the leading researchers who we've had a lot on the show. And one,
And
yeah.
certainly now, if it says Parkinson's on the envelope, I open it. There's
Yeah.
no question.
One thing I really do enjoy is, despite a lot of great speakers we've had here and guests, but despite the diagnosis, it really hasn't stopped you, at least in terms of advocacy. And one thing I wanted everyone to please go to now or after, and we'll share the link, but shakinstreet.com. What gave you the idea for this, and what's it like to still be able to share your, all that you do through writing?
I like to write. I've always written a lot. I've done some freelance writing. I had a blog about advertising for years, and I'd kind of vaguely considered a blog, but couldn't really get excited about the idea. And one day I was listening to an internet radio show, and they played a song. It was a favorite song when I was a kid by the MC5 from Detroit, and the song was called "Shakin' Street." And I heard the song, and just on a whim, I went to GoDaddy and I said, I wonder if shakenstreet.com is available to buy. And
Mhm.
it was, so I bought it and I launched the blog in May of 2024. I'm trying to write a post every week, generally on Wednesdays. I've probably missed two or three in the past year, but it helps me to sort things out, and it has built an audience, and I have been surprised at how much it resonates with the readers. I get people writing and saying, I see myself in your blog," and that's kind of been a bonus that that I've been able to help other people sort through some of their issues as well.
I love blogs because you have not just the power, but the ability to share, your thoughts and really everything there, and don't have to have editors telling you what to say, what not to say. It's unfiltered. We also
Hmm.
started one, and we'd love to have you join us, and also everyone listening. It's really for the Parkinson's community and to reach the world. So we'll have to keep in touch on that one.
Absolutely, I'd be interested.
But I do hope everyone will support you. And again, we'll share this, but shakinstreet.com. Also, you can reach out to Phil on the LinkedIn, which is one of my favorites for the business world if you're available. Also, wanted to mention the Parkinson's Resources of Oregon. We've had representatives on the show, but maybe you could talk a little bit about your connection with them. And also, everyone, please go to X. They change the name every week, but here you can see
Yeah.
we're already following, but you'll get some really great in-depth information, something I'm passionate about. I've never played, but ping pong is one of the areas you were touching on. I think that's really important because it might be growing now, but a lot of people aren't aware how important it is for individuals to even slow the progression of Parkinson's.
And it's interesting. Ping pong has become one of my favorite things to do, and what started that was reading that the only thing proven to slow down the progression of Parkinson's is exercise.
Mm.
So I started looking at what kinds of exercise are demonstrated to do well. I took up rock steady boxing. I'm doing Tai Chi, and on a whim, I went to Parkinson's Resources of Oregon, which lets patients with Parkinson's play ping pong free 5 days a week.
Oh,
And I've turned out to just love the game. It is my main hobby right now. I'm not very good at it, but it's a lot of fun to play, and I hope it's working to to keep the brain working as well. Parkinson's Resources of Oregon is a local organization which I've gotten active in. Uh, that really just provides support for Parkinson's patients. It's everything from webinars on on medical issues, to ping pong 5 days a week, exercise classes, a variety of things to do. And I am a peer-to-peer mentor, which means that I work with another guy who's got Parkinson's, just helping him deal with the various issues that come up. So, I'm lucky to live in Portland, Oregon, which has got an organization like that, and I've become pretty active with it.
thank you. I really like highlighting organizations around the world, even if they're small, large, or just starting, because I always hope if we could just reach one person today together that might even live in Portland, you never know her, and even in that area, never heard of it. Now they have, and we've changed the world for the better. And that's why I encourage everyone to really share this show and also all the organizations to come on because, as you know, I don't want anything in return except a cure. So thank you for all your advocacy and also all you do. I wanted to turn now to, I shouldn't keep saying it, but I like to the fun part of the show. But I do hope the whole show's fun. So it's kind of like going in circles here. But I was wondering if you could share with our listeners 3 words that describe who you are.
Three words that describe who I am. I guess I'm going to start with resilient. I've had over the years, I had a couple of cancer scares back in 2006 and 2007. Had surgery on my lungs, surgery on my pancreas, and somehow managed to bounce back to that. I'm dealing with Parkinson's now as an issue. I had a heart attack in 2017. I'm a lot like a Russian automobile. The parts that work are working really well, but not all the parts are working at 100% at this point. But I would say resilient is one. And I think somebody called me snarky the other day. He asked if there was a support group for Snarkinsons. And I said, not as far as I know, but I've developed a sense of humor over the years, and sometimes dark humor jokes. Some of the guys at the gym and I have developed a pretty strong and humorous relationship. And probably the last one is the one that will surprise people because it's relatively recent, which is empathetic. One of the things that now that I'm retired and I've got time to pay attention to the world around me, I realize how many people are dealing with this disease and how tough some of the challenges are. And so far, I've been relatively lucky. My symptoms are pretty mild, but I see what's in the future. And one of the things I'm trying to do is anticipate roadblocks that people are going to have and give people ways to get around them.
Thanks for sharing that. We could probably trade our stories with medicine and hospitals. And I myself, unfortunately, have had several surgeries just the last year, but I don't let that ever stop advocacy because
How's the back these days?
not good. I mean, it's hard because at this point, it's not, the only options left, not that everybody wants to hear this, but is either the spinal cord stimulator or remove everything they already installed because it didn't work. So
Oh boy.
I'm leaning towards the spinal cord stimulator, a lot like DBS, but for the spine, but it's not always effective. So it's everything at this point. So, complicated, but that's how everything is. And like I said, even if anyone here followed me for a while, whether I am on anesthesia right in the hospital surgery center, the second I wake up, I grab my phone and advocate for Parkinson's cure because to me, that's the battle right now, and that's the most important. So I
Yeah.
appreciate you asking though. But I was wondering, you mentioned ping pong, but what other ways do you usually try to combat Parkinson's?
I'm very much on team exercise, and I've read about the benefits of spinning, of indoor cycling. I'm doing that 2 to 3 days a week. I'm doing ping pong generally 2 to 3 days a week. I'm doing Tai Chi 3 days a week, and rock steady boxing 3 days a week. So most days I've got a couple of things to do, and it's a lot. I spent all of my career in a very sedentary job, and in retirement, I've become a bit of a gym rat. But it's the only thing proven to work. So far, it's working pretty well. And my hope and my plan is to slow the Parkinson's down long enough for somebody to come up with a cure, and just delay it and keep it at bay until somebody comes up with the answer. And if that happens, I win, I guess.
One thing that, is important that you've already done is to show that if you don't like one sport or one area of exercise, there's still so many more. And we're working on something, soon to explain different sports and how they slow the progression. But I always don't want someone to kind of not, get discouraged by, let's say they're not good at ping pong and then they don't
Hmm.
want to try anything else. So that's the most important message that we have to do what Phil is doing and trying different things. It can't hurt to try it. You will probably fall in love, someone like bowling, so they bowl, someone likes kayaking, someone likes ping. There's so many that I just hope everyone listening we'll just get out there and try it. And I'm sure virtually Phil will join you if he can.
Yeah, absolutely. Unless it's golf. If it's
Right.
golf, I'm not interested.
My
But
problem is my best sport in my life is in basketball. So that's, I still
ah,
try to get out there and it's just not, I might not feel anything as you play, but then the next few weeks
you you, p-
after I
you pay for it.
internally cry. But I still do it. I love it. So unfortunately, God gave me the wrong gift for my sport of choice. There's one thing I do think is very important about the show, a lot, but this question to me is something that's not asked enough. Obviously, you're the spokesperson for your advocacy and really reach so many, and I'm grateful for that and your friendship. But who helps you during times of struggle? We like to take a moment on the show and thank those in your life, whether family, friends, and the gym guys, to send our love and support to them too for supporting you to be able to do what you're doing for all of us.
The one I'm going to start with, which is the one that I absolutely have to name, is my wife, Michelle Bernstein, known in the knitting world as PDX Knitterati. She's a
Oh,
internationally known knitting instructor and pattern designer. As we're recording this, she's actually out of state doing a knitting conference for the weekend,
see,
and
as you
and
say that, I tell you, I do our research on here. So there you go.
ah. There it is, PDX Knitterati, pdxknitterati.com.
Everyone,
If
please
you
also not just support Phil because we know we need to also support his amazing wife.
and that is the big one because she is the one, she comes to all of my neurologist appointments, all my doctor appointments, and she's the one taking notes, and I'm the one who's kind of having the attention drift, but she's paying attention, has the good follow-up questions, and holds me accountable to make sure I'm doing the things I need to do. And so she's the big one. She's my care partner, and she is my wife of 42 years, and I cannot thank her enough for everything she's done.
We
And
also got to
and
thank the cats, please.
yep,
We're
there's
animal friendly.
Biscuit and Calvin,
I love
the helpful knitting cats, as a
it.
matter of fact.
We love
Um,
that. We're animal friendly here.
and we are definitely cat friendly in this house. And the other thing is the people, at my gym and at ping pong, who have become in the past year and a half good friends and a support group. They're people. One of them. When I walked into Rocksteady Boxing my first day, there's a guy who recognized me. He and I had gone to college together 40 years before. I'd been his RA in the dorms, and he said, I'm delighted to see you, except for the reason why I'm seeing you today.
Mhm.
But there's a group of about 5 or 6 of us, and Saturday after our boxing class, we go out for beers, and it has become, a group of good friends and a support group, and we're constantly trading information about, crazy cure possibilities and unusual therapies and things like that. And that's the other thing is the people in the Parkinson's community who have gone out of my way to make me feel welcome and support me.
Thank you. And we send our love to your wife, the cats, and the support group. So thanks.
All right.
Send the thanks to all of them.
Thank
Uh,
you.
How do you think we're doing it right now, but how do you think we can better promote Parkinson's awareness? Because my dream is not just to reach our beautiful Parkinson's community, but really the rest of the world too, because I feel we need everybody on board in this fight for a cure.
I think the one thing that we have found is that the squeaky wheel gets the grease, and I think probably a big reason that the National Plan to End Parkinson's Act was passed last year was all of the noise that the Michael J. Fox Foundation and the Parkinson's Foundation and the local folks did to keep this top of mind and top of awareness. There are you know to be cynical, there are a lot of diseases
Mhm.
and a lot of ailments and things like that, and we have got to generate attention, and so the more noise we make, and the more attention we demand, the better our chances of getting the money that's necessary for the for us to find a cure. I mean, certainly, an area to make noise right now has to do with medical research funding. And, regardless of your political take and how you feel one way or another about Donald Trump and the Trump administration, the cut in medical research funding, if that goes through and if that sticks, some of that money is going to come out of Parkinson's research.
Mm.
And so we've got to make noise to make sure that that our senators, our representatives, our governors, and everybody else knows that it is not acceptable to divert those funds out of that. I
Yeah,
think that's key.
yeah, the politics is another world because we've had some great senators and representatives on, and we have one coming who actually, I can't say who, but somebody very important is going to be on the show this month. But I tried to reach out to so many, and you don't get a response. And then I send it again and again. So everyone, it does work. So don't give up out there. We need everybody to write your representatives, your senators, your local, state, federal, everybody. I think if you said, like Phil said, if we not, swamped them, but we all contact them, it's going to definitely make a difference than if it's just me and Phil, which to me means the world. But, we need everybody in this
We
fight.
need a few more. We definitely need a few more. Yes.
If you had one wish granted, what would it be
One wish granted about Parkinson's.
in life? It doesn't have to be Parkinson's. Everyone, I've been interested. I stopped asking this question because we're all agreeing. I should start preface it by saying, besides a cure, what would your one wish be? Because
The
I've had some beautiful responses.
I guess if I had one wish to grant at this point, it's that, at this point I'm 65 years old. Maybe I've got another 10 or 15 years, maybe a little more, but that the time I spend on this is going to make an impact. That I'm going to be making, some people's lives better, and then when it's done, yeah, I want to leave a mark, and that's what it comes down to.
Well, hopefully this show will live on forever, like literally, or until we have a cure, and then we'll terminate everything because that's it. But I'll still do a little with my.
I'd love to have an excuse to stop the blog too, but
And well, I'll probably just leave it up. I wouldn't do much, but I still want to. All those we've unfortunately lost their battle to always be remembered too. What if you had a? This is hard to shift, but this is a fun one. But if you had a theme song to your life story, what would that song be?
theme song to the life story.
Your life.
Uh, that's one I have not
We
thought of much,
we have the
but
hard-hitting questions here. News.
I guess you do, and it would probably be something from Bruce Springsteen. I'm a Bruce Springsteen geek, and have been since I was in high school. When there was a quote in my, when they left room for a quote in my yearbook profile, I quoted Thunder Road. It's and I was 18, so I was pretty overwrought at the time. It's a town full of losers. I'm pulling out of here to win. I think at this point, I'm home, and I want to win where I am. But I would probably still use Thunder Road.
Thank you. And I don't ask it a lot just because of timing, but have you changed your diet or how the way you eat and nutrition due to the progression or not progression, but just the diagnosis? Sorry, that's a
I have, and I'm not 100%. I follow Lori Mishley, and her Parkinson's school, and she recommends basically the mind diet minus the poultry is to oversimplify it. And I'm not 100%. I've cut meat out mostly, and a lot more vegetables, a lot more fruit and things like that. But I cannot pass up pizza. That's the one thing that you will have to take pizza out of my cold dead hands. But I know I'm eating better than I was, but not 100% where I need to be.
I almost forgot it's 2:14. I want to wish you, Phil, and your wife and everyone listening a happy Valentine's Day because right now next door is a room of three children and there's too much candy. So I might stay with you even after you log off for the next 10 hours because if I end up in that room, there goes any
All
help.
right, and to Michelle Bernstein, happy Valentine's Day, honey.
Thank you. I love that. Well, we have a few more, and then I know you have blogging to do, and I do with you. So I have two important questions. Is there a burning question in your stomach or almost in your gut that you've never really been able to ask anyone, or you just don't think there's an answer? I'm just curious, this is that one question I always wanted to ask each person. Is there something you want to know? Not for me, I'm just saying in general that there really isn't an answer that you wish you had one for.
I don't know if this is a question as much as something I found out about a week and a half ago. It's actually I mentioned it on my blog, but in medical studies they use a placebo, just to to test how much of what's happening is really what's in the medication and how much is in somebody's mind. And I read not long ago about something called the open label placebo. And with an open label placebo, the person getting the placebo knows it's a placebo. They tell you up front, these are sugar pills. There's no medication in it. And in some cases, it works anyway. Even if you know it's not the medication, you take it, and somehow the mind makes makes adjustments, and the brain makes adjustments, and the symptoms go away. There's a an episode of the Hidden Brain podcast, which is just fascinating about that. So I guess I'm wondering, the burning question I have is where exactly does the mind come in, and how much can we fix with with some kind of mental discipline or attitude or something else? Where does that come from, and is there a way to harness that to make Parkinson's go backwards?
Thanks. Yeah, I love that. And remember, everyone listening, if you have a burning question you'd like us to ask here on the show, feel free to write it in. And then this is my favorite one. Of course, I wrote it.
Okay.
If you were asked to write a script to a movie about your life story, what would you name it, and what actor would play your role?
What actor? For years people told me it should be Woody Allen, and Woody Allen's not cool anymore. But there are some. I mean, I would love to have it. Have the movie done by Mel Brooks, with with lots of cheap jokes and sound effects and slapstick and things like that. It's been a good run. It's been interesting, and I just want to finish strong.
Yeah, I love Spaceballs. Big fan. That's one of my
I'm a
favorite.
Blazing Saddles and Young Frankenstein
Yeah,
person.
I like that. Well, I did want to thank you, but before we go, I did want to again encourage everyone to support you at shakinstreet.com. Also, your wife at PDX Knitterari, which I'm just going to, yeah,
Nitterati, yeah.
yeah, I don't even know how I got that right, but I will add that in the notes and also have a little, actually, before I ask the final question, I was wondering if you could leave the Parkinson's community today with some words of encouragement. What would those be?
Words of encouragement are this that as bad as it's going to get, and for some of us, it's going to get bad. It is possible to live well. It is possible to have a meaningful life, and it is, we've all got to die of something. If we don't die of this, we're gonna, something's gonna get us sooner or later. But it's possible to win the battle. There's a guy named Paul Alexander who I wrote about a few weeks ago. He had polio as a child, about as bad as you can possibly get it, and he lived in an iron lung for 72 years. He could not move his arms or his legs. He could only move his head. He graduated from high school. He graduated from college. He became a lawyer. He became late in his life a TikTok star, believe it or not. And he wrote a book. And he wrote a book with a stylus between his lips, tapping on a keyboard with his head. And I read his book, and I basically my words of encouragement are, if he can deal with that, we can deal with this.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's definitely hard to follow, and I really appreciate you sharing all that you did today. But I always say this has to continue. And when the lights, camera, and paparazzi leave today, doesn't mean this conversation ends because we still have so much work to do. But we're just grateful that you were able to join us, and also everyone listening. I have a message for you, Phil, and for everyone. We love you, we support you, we care a lot about you, and you're never alone. I, along with Phil, will advocate for you, and I feel together our voices are so much stronger. And I always say I'm just getting started because even though I've been doing this for 5, 6 years, on my tougher days when I really think I need to take a break or give up, I look to Phil and I look to all of you and realize that I can't. We have to keep going. And until the cure is at everybody's doorsteps around the world, we have a lot more to do. So I'm just again grateful, Phil, for your time and friendship. It's been really an honor, and you inspire me, and I believe so many.
Thank you, George, and thanks for all the great work you do.
Thank you, and thank you to everyone for listening. This has been another episode of Q&A with Sharon and George. Please stay tuned. We have so much more to come. some incredible guests and really, you're really make this happen. So feel free to write in, send any guests you'd like us to interview. We're kind of booked till 2026, which I probably shouldn't share, but that's great news. I mean, I remember starting the show. It was hard to get guests because people didn't know why is this guy want to help people when unfortunately can't bring your mother back. But I'm still grieving 5 years later. My mother, and I don't want to get sad now, but is and always will be my best friend. But because of people like you listening and Phil, really helped me through tough times, and you don't even know it. So I do truly have a place in my heart for each and every one of you. So thanks again for joining us today. And again, please share this. And most importantly today, support Phil. That's why we're here. So thanks, Phil, again. Love you all, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you, George. Take care.